Good morning. Good afternoon. I'm Brian Moore, and I'm in the second grade at Elm Grove Elementary School.
And I'm Caleb Moore, and I'm in the 6th grade at Kingwood Middle School.
It's important to get vaccinated because vaccines help us to not get sick. I'm excited I got my vaccine so I can see the new Spider-Man in the movie theater. And so I can go to birthday parties with my friends again. Yay.
I was excited to get my COVID-19 vaccination because now my mom might let me go to Harry Potter World and Universal Studios. I'm also excited that we might be able to stop wearing masks soon. I want everyone's families to be protected from COVID-19 because our grandpa got sick with COVID and died before the vaccine was available. We should all do our part to protect ourselves, our communities, and our country from COVID-19 through vaccination. Now I'd like to introduce First Lady Dr. Jill Biden and U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy.
Well, Caleb, Brian, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction and those opening remarks. I am so sorry about your grandfather. I know what a tremendous loss that must have been for you and your family, but I so applaud you and your mom and the rest of your family being out here to help more people learn about vaccination so they can get protected. Thank you so much. I want to start also by acknowledging some of the people who have welcomed us here today. Mr. Mark Wallace, the CEO of Texas Children's Hospital, as well as the rest of the leadership and staff at Texas Children's, the nurses and doctors, the therapists, the technicians, the receptionists, the maintenance staff. I mention all of them because all of them are a critical part of making this organization work, which has served so many children. So thank you all for your heroic work and for welcoming us today. You know, several years ago when my daughter was hospitalized, she was 1 year old, and when she needed emergency surgery, I saw the extraordinary lengths that children's hospitals go to make sure that kids are getting the best possible care. And I remember sitting outside the waiting room, sitting outside the MRI suite, sitting by her bedside and waiting for the nurses and doctors to come in. And what sticks with me is not only the pain and uncertainty of those moments, but how much compassion and care we received from all of the personnel in those hospitals. They knew how scared and worried we were, and they made sure we were taken care of. You know, I know this because as a parent who's experienced a child who's been sick, I know, just like all parents out there know, that it's a sacred responsibility to care for the youngest among us. And that's what you all do each and every day. You have fulfilled that responsibility magnificently, and I just applaud you for it today. So when I say thank you, you know, I really do mean it. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. And to also all the families who are here, we got to meet some of them, the beautiful parents and children and others who are vaccinated on this day and on recent days and who are celebrating this moment. I just also want to say thank you for the critical role that you have played in getting our communities through these last 22 months of this pandemic. It hasn't been easy. I know many times you have probably been scared and worried about what the future would bring, but you have been the backbone of your families. You have helped support kids throughout your communities, and it has made all the difference in the world. The reason that we're here today is to talk about this extraordinarily important milestone that we have hit recently, and that is the arrival of a vaccine that can protect our children. 2 weeks ago, the FDA and CDC gave their authorization and their recommendation for pediatric vaccines for children ages 5 through 11. Now, they did so after a careful, rigorous review of the data by independent scientists. And in their review, they followed the same high standards that they apply to all vaccines for our children. Today, what we want to convey to parents is that this vaccine will help protect our children and our communities from COVID-19. And we say this because we know two critical things about the vaccine. Number one, it works very well. And number two, it has a remarkably strong safety profile. Now, this particular vaccine is tailored for children. The dose is lowered. It's about a third of the dose that adults get. But it also went through clinical trials specific for 5 through 11-year-olds. The side effects that were seen in the trials included soreness, pain, and swelling in the arm where the injection was given, fatigue, headache, occasionally a fever. But these symptoms disappeared within a day or two, leaving children with protection against COVID-19. Very importantly, in the trials, they saw no serious adverse effects from the vaccine. Now, what about the effectiveness of the vaccine? Well, in the trials, the vaccines were more than 90% effective at preventing our children from developing symptomatic COVID illness. And as far as vaccines go, that's a very, very strong result. All of this is reassuring news. Because while kids are less at risk of bad outcomes from COVID-19 compared to adults, the truth is that COVID is not harmless in children. And no one knows this better than the staff of a children's hospital. A hospital has cared for many of those children who have sadly encountered complications with COVID-19. Now, during this pandemic, we have sadly lost hundreds of children to COVID-19. We've had thousands of children hospitalized from COVID-19, especially during this last wave, the Delta wave. And in addition to all of this, as heartbreaking as this price has been, our kids have also sustained the social and emotional impact of COVID-19. Schools, sports, art programs have been disrupted. Many of our kids have missed out on time with their grandparents, their friends, and other family members. And many kids are struggling now with anxiety, depression, and loneliness. And that's ultimately why this vaccine is so important for our kids. It will not only help keep them healthy and safe, but it will also allow them to resume parts of their lives that they have deeply missed during this pandemic. Finally, there's one important issue I want to warn parents about, and that issue is misinformation. We know that already many parents out there have seen their inboxes, their social media feeds filled with all kinds of claims about the vaccine. Many of these claims are not true. They're not grounded in science or in fact. But that's why we're asking parents to be very careful about where they get their information from. I'm asking you to seek answers to your questions from credible sources, like your doctors, your children's hospitals, your local public health departments, and the CDC. Finally, let me just say, in closing, just my heartfelt thanks to all of you once again. While I have the great privilege of serving as Surgeon General and as a physician, my most important title is Dad. And I think of that every time I'm on the road, because this morning, for example, I kissed my 2 children goodbye. I told them that I was coming here just to a children's hospital to see parents and other kids. And as a parent, I just want to say that I could not be more grateful for what you do each day to advocate for and to care for the health of our children. It's now with great pride and with honor that I want to introduce you to an extraordinary leader who has spent her life looking out for children and their families. She's a teacher who has put her heart and her soul into strengthening the next generation. And she's a role model who has inspired me and so many others in our nation to serve with humility, dedication, and integrity. Please join me in welcoming my friend, our First Lady of the United States, Dr. Jill Biden.
Thank you very much. Thank you. take this off. Thank you, Vivek. And, you know, you are really so reassuring to America's families, isn't he? I mean, don't you just feel it from him? I mean, you know, as our nation's doctor, and of course, as he said, as a dad. So thank you for being here with me, Vivek. Thanks. And representatives behind me, Fletcher, Garcia Green, and Jackson Lee, it's wonderful to see all of you once again. And Mark, thank you for welcoming us to Texas Children's Hospital and hosting this great event. So did everyone here in the audience, did you get your Rockets gift bags and tickets? No. Uh-oh. Not yet. Okay. They're coming, right? Anyway. Okay. They're coming. So thank you to the Houston Rockets for giving you those gift bags. You're on it. And good luck against the Suns tonight. So, you know, as First Lady, I've had the chance to meet so many larger-than-life people, but never two who can defy gravity. And I think we're all excited to see Wonder Woman and Superman. You want to stand up? Thank you. But today, I'm inspired by you, Caleb and Brian. Thank you for sharing your story. You know, you may not be able to fly, but you and all the other kids getting your shots today here are the real heroes. So let's give a round of applause for all the brave kids here. And so today I'm here to talk to the parents. You know, I'm a mom too, and when you become a parent, there's a moment that we all go through. I'm sure you know you can remember when you look at your baby for the first time, you know, with the eyes like saucers and like the tiniest little fingers, and you feel this deep sense of love, like so deep in your bones, and you also feel absolute terror because you know that this fragile little life is depending on you. And from that moment on, you see the world so differently. Every step, every street corner, every bite of food, you know how we're cutting up the food so, you know, small so they don't choke. You know, a danger that you never even noticed before. We all buy baby gates and cover our electrical outlets. We wrestle them into car seats, and no matter how much they complain about it, we make them eat their vegetables and stuff them into winter coats and scarves until they can barely walk. We hold their hands to cross the street and teach them to look both ways. And after bedtime, when we're so exhausted from the day, and sure that if we hear, "Can I have a glass of water?" one more time, we will descend into permanent madness. But then we quietly close their bedroom door and feel this pang of gratitude, knowing that dinner complaints and bedtime negotiations mean that everything is okay, that they're healthy and growing, that we are okay. And parents, we do everything we can to protect our kids. And in this pandemic, you did that. You figured out how to support their virtual learning while working your own job. Some of you even left your job to help with your kids. You found ways to create online play dates and birthday parties. You chose to get yourself vaccinated. And even though there were times when you probably felt like no matter what you did, it just wasn't enough, I want you to know you carried your families through this, and you are doing an amazing job. The President and I know how difficult this has been for your family, and I'm here today because we care about you and your children. Joe and our team have been working every day to give you what you need to keep your family safe in this pandemic. And parents, I'm so excited that now you have a way to do just that. A vaccine for your children 5 and up. So many of you have asked me over the last few months when this is coming. And now it's here. Not just another way to protect your kids against COVID-19, but as Dr. Murthy said, the best way. So here's what I want you to remember and to share with other parents. The vaccine is the best way to prepare to protect your children against COVID-19. It's been thoroughly reviewed and rigorously tested. It's safe, it's free, and it's available for every child in our country 5 and up. In fact, there are pop-up clinics across the city that are offering vaccinations, including one today and next Sunday at Tidewell Park. Mayor Turner is working hard to get you the resources that you need here in Houston. Parenthood and worrying, they just go hand in hand, right? It's just what we do as parents. So I can't promise you that the dangers of the world will become any less frightening. I mean, just wait until your kids start driving. But with this vaccine, we can take away at least one of those big worries. From the day you first held your sweet, fragile little baby, you have made the choice again and again to keep your child safe. Giving your child the COVID-19 vaccine is your choice too. So make the decision to protect your child with the same vaccine that has already saved millions of lives, because nothing is more important than our children's health. It's up to us to keep all you little children safe. And we can, and we have today with this vaccine. So thank you for being here. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Gentlemen, as you leave out the elevators you came in, you can find your voucher for 4 tickets to the Houston Rockets, along with some other goodies. Go Rockets!